Welcome back, everybody, to the Spring Championship here at DreamHack Open Tour. We're all a bit flustered, we're all a bit excited. As of course you've been watching the second stream, explosions happen. We'll talk about that in a couple of moments. Thank you to the sponsors, of course, Zowie, Razer, G2A, Monster Energy, and Alienware. And of course, do remember to send in your tweets to hashtag WCS and hashtag DHOpen, because I know a lot of you are tweeting a lot right now. Joining me on the desk for this next segment as we get ready for the next game here on the mainstream is Nathanius, Todd, and Maynard. How many drop bears have you seen here in France?
0, because they're native to Australia. I thought you were less ignorant than that.
Thank you very much for joining us on the desk.
It was you all along, that voice in the G2A ad. Good to know.
It was, yeah, I practiced that.
A big game coming up, though. PtitDrogo versus Bunny. So much hype around this one, some cheeky tweets, and a lot of history as well. So
TVP,
it's gonna be good.
We will talk about that, but you know, looking back at what we just saw on this stream.
Oh boy.
That was entertaining, to say the least.
That was good. I mean, I think disruptors are always cool to watch. You know, you get into these scenarios, and I think Puck did it really well. It's like it almost feels like some sort of like drama thing where you're like, okay, I'm going to fall behind, but then I'm going to get these big disruptor shots. I'm going to make you think that I'm going to bring the game back. And then, of course, he didn't really bring those games back, but he was able to bring the series back off of some really fancy micro. However, I mean, he really didn't show a lot of range with that style. It was very much the same sort of thing every game, just relying on execution, which won't always get it to you, you know, because StarCraft is also a strategy game, not just mechanics.
We say that was an overall weakness overall in the series then?
It definitely felt like it. Like, the fact that he was able to make it work and get to the ace match was nice, but then you're like, one of the worst maps because of how good Bio is against Stalkers. Like, you can't just split all your disruptors and deal with the drops on that Core Hall Carnage map, because it's the one map where, for all the other weird things, you also don't have one spot you can put your army where you can defend both your main and your natural and your third. You have to spread out, and that just naturally makes you a lot worse.
Another good series that we've seen in this tournament. It's funny because we saw quite a few good ones in Austin. Now we're seeing a lot here at the Spring Championship. You managed to catch it, Todd. What did you think?
I was casting in French, actually.
Oh,
so,
you were?
Yeah, I saw the whole thing. Well, not casting per se. I was there as an analyst over there.
Okay.
But yeah, these were some really cool games with some very good synergy between Stalkers and Disruptors.
Yeah. And
I actually wonder, like, Drogo probably watched this and probably, I feel like, would have a similar plan, unless he wants to open differently with something like Storm. So it's it was a very good preview of what we might see here in our next matchup as well. And Puck put up a pretty good fight. I thought he might be more one-sided than this, because I'm a big Terran whiner, so...
Well, it's good to see Massive performing well, but we can check in with the bracket now as we move closer to the round of 16. Games are still happening left and right here at this tournament, and I think this is the appropriate time to talk about what we just saw as well. A crazy Game 5 between Pult and Strange ended in a neutral tie from the game, from game conditions.
With the Game 6 happening in the round of 32.
I know.
Literal esports history.
So it's funny because everyone...
disgusting, of
course.
course.
Going absolutely insane. Esports history was in the making.
As long as the winner of that game is a literal god by Artosis' standards, I think we've pretty much gotten the full trifecta here.
If you haven't seen the game, definitely go back and watch it. Go tune into the second
it's
stream.
Happening right now.
Game 6 is happening right now. It's absolutely berserk. If Pult, and also remember that Pult was down 0-2 in this series, tied it up, drawed the 5th game to go to 6th game. Absolutely unbelievable.
He's actually had a couple of weird draws too, because I remember in one of the qualifiers or one of the other tournament games, he actually had a match against Puck where they had to replay a Game 5 in like a qualifying match, and that was actually, I think, the qualifier for this tournament, now that I think about it, where Puck was able to make it in. So he's Pult's been getting in some weird games lately
You
with all
always
those
say
mass
that.
drops.
You always say Paul doesn't die. Like usually you're watching at his TVZ
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like being attacked by like Ling, Baneling, Muda, a lot of units, and you're always like Paul doesn't die. But he's taking this to the next level now. 0-2 into 2-2 into a draw into a possible
I
win
know,
here.
We didn't see the timer, but if the players did see the timer, that actually explains a lot of what Paul
Yeah.
did in that game, like
Yeah,
delaying it. And
Well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because as a Terran player, you know, we sometimes realize like, okay, if there's money on the match and there's a chance to float your buildings, you know that if nothing happens, if you don't return resources, if you don't build a unit, if you don't make a building or destroy a building, after 3 minutes, a 2-minute timer appears, and when that hits 0, you're scot-free. Like that is, you know, obviously it's a bit extreme to do that to people on the ladder, but when there's, you know, a couple $1,000s on the line, makes a lot of sense why Pult would drag a game out like that.
All right, well, let's change our focus then to the game at hand here. So, pretty excited about this one. Drogo versus Bunny. This is a match that Drogo has publicly said he wasn't very happy about being drawn immediately in the round of 32.
Bunny also was very unhappy about having to play a TVP in the round of 32.
Well, look at this then. They're both
playing a matchup that they hate against each other. I think Bunny's just happy he doesn't have Haas again. Or maybe he's unhappy. Maybe he would have liked to have Haas again.
Yeah.
Bit of revenge.
I think this is super cool because, I mean, I know you've got a lot to say about this. Bunny, of course, a player who's had his ups and downs recently. Drogo, it's been his Achilles heel. Like, he has struggled versus Terran. There's no hiding it.
Absolutely. Not too long ago in the French tournaments, Bio Gaming Top Dogs, he lost to Daishi 1-3. He's not been having the easiest of time versus Terran. Like, it's definitely the one matchup that's kind of holding him back from doing better in some of these tournaments. So I really feel like here, he got a good opportunity in knowing about who his opponent was going to be, and even his bracket, because there is a chance he meets more Terrans as well down the line. There are a few in his bracket. He got a really good opportunity to only practice in that matchup. I spoke with him, and he's actually quite confident here for this first match against Bunny.
Bunny does have a recent head-to-head massive advantage, 100% win rate in recent matches. Stats provided by Aligulak there. What are your thoughts here? I mean, we got 2 Terran players in between the Protoss.
It feels really weird, but it feels really weird that we just haven't seen a crazy number of games from Bunny, right? We've been seeing a lot of other non-Korean players take the headle. I'd say for Europeans, you basically put everything behind Snoot. Bunny didn't make a big splash. We didn't see him blow up at Katowice. Didn't see him. I don't even know if he was at Austin at this point. Made absolutely no real presence there. This to me is like, he needs to get back on the horse as far as really like reminding people that he's supposed to be a top 4 contender, because he hasn't really been shaking anything up recently.
I think the best way to look at who's been active and who's been doing well is to look at the WCS rankings. And I believe Drogo is 4th.
Yeah.
And obviously he's been doing very well this year. Bunny's not even in the top 16. So definitely a lot more active on the French side.
Bunny's definitely juggling with school, right? So he goes to school each day, comes home, he has his dinner that his parents cook for him probably, and then he gets to the ladder, and he doesn't have that much time, so it is difficult for him to keep up with these guys. So we're going to have to see what he brings to the table, but one thing is for certain here, Maynard, if Bunny loses, Team Liquid completely whitewashed in the round of 32, all out.
It's surprising to a lot of people. I mean, I cast Snoot and Guru, and I had like, my mouth got slack after that, and I was like, whoa, like the Snoot gone already, and you know, and that's out of 3 Team Liquid players, we're down to 1 already. It'd be amazing to see 0 of them go through.
I mean, looking at, you know, teams in StarCraft 2, Team Liquid is one of those teams you're expecting deep, always.
I mean, Snoot made it all the way to the grand finals of Winter, and he played a lot of ZVZ, and he did really, really well. And in Austin, he did really well.
Hey,
so
if Friday was here, he would mention that they are still in the Heroes tournament, though. So.
Totally unreal. Relevance is real.
So, I'm just so glad you're able to bring us back to reality with that one.
Grounding us.
Very exciting game. I heard Tasteless still screaming, by the way, so I don't know what the hell is going on between Paul and
I kind of want to run over there and
I know, I hear him in the distance.
One man, all the passion.
So happy he's here.
Roddy's just listening to him at this point.
Dude, Roddy's going to emerge from that cast. He's going to be like, I'm a new man. He's like, I'm better than I was before.
I'm casting with Tasteless later. I'm so starstruck.
Yeah?
I don't know how it's gonna go.
I'm not casting with him today.
Maybe
that bothers
tomorrow?
me. Tomorrow, I want to rig it. I'm going to rig the schedule.
Fingers crossed. The legend of casting, of course.
You need to earn it.
We'll create memes the likes of which StarCraft has never experienced.
The memesters here. Let's move on then. So, which way does this either go? Are we heavily favoring Drogo here? I mean, let's move kind of smoothly into predictions. What
I actually feel like this is going to be a close series, 3-2, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I'm feeling PtitDrogo is going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bunny did.
Yeah. Todd, I mean, I think the veto is going to come up very shortly. We can talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Todd, how are you thinking this series is going to play out?
I feel like Drogo's favored for sure. I'm thinking 3-1 or 3-2, but most likely a 3-1.
Okay, and
All right, so
my man.
I want to look at this the same way that I looked at Puck Massa, where honestly I thought across the board Puck was a better player, but Massa's style is very good against what he does. I don't really know how Bunny plays right now, so I feel like even though Drogo's PvT may not be his strongest matchup, he's got a lot more momentum coming into this, and I like his chances better. Like I'm feeling that 3-1-3-2 for Drogo.
All right, well here's the map pool, Todd. What are your thoughts?
These are pretty much the standard vetoes that you will see in this matchup.
No core hall carnage.
Yeah, I was speaking with Drogo earlier, and he did mention to me that he was going to veto that, and he said Prey on Terraces is what he thought Bunny was going to veto. He said if he doesn't veto it, I'm going to pick it and free win on it. So good thing there's not going to be a free win here because Bunny vetoed it, and then the rest like very standard. Like we just saw a lot of these maps in action minus Coral Carnage in the last series. Now, there are some of these maps that will be easier or tougher to play for both players on. PtitDrogo, he's been known to, kind of play like mechanically very well and kind of standard, not afraid to go to 3 bases and stuff. But I feel like on maps where it's going to be harder for him to play a safer style, maybe he's bound to play a lot more aggressive. Yeah. There's definitely that chance.
All right, Maynard.
What's up,
Drogo, very sadly, at the Intel Stream Masters, came in after, well, being a champion of DreamHack, came into the Intel Stream Masters World Championship for the WCS Circuit Winter Championship and went out first round versus fellow countryman Daishi.
We have to consider that there was a patch in between Leipzig and Winter, which changed the matchup quite a bit with the Adept. I think Adept Phoenix was all the rage back in Leipzig.
Has he learned his lesson in these last 4 months or so?
I hope so, for his sake. I actually have a lot of faith in Drogo to win this series. Like I already said, I'm favoring him.
Yeah. All right,
I think he's playing a lot more than Bunny is.
Very briefly, then very swiftly, winner and score only.
PtitDrogo 3-2.
3-1 PtitDrogo.
Drogo 3-2.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to go into the game with Todd and Maynard for the next game in the round of 32.
That's right. What's up, boys? Me and Todd, we're going to take you through a wonderful journey. This best of 5. Team Liquid Terran up against My Insanity's crown jewel here, PtitDrogo.
I'm sure he would love to gain a few more points in those WCS rankings. Currently in 4th place. Like he's definitely climbing steadily this year, and has been doing very well.
The really rough part about Winter was Bunny losing in the round of 32 means 0 points. Like you don't get any points at all for just even when you qualify for that tournament, you don't earn anything until you get to the round of 16 point wise.
Even in this tournament, like it's the same sort of deal. Points, it's like if you lose this match, basically you win $1,500, which sure is not bad. You win it, I think it's like 4,000, so that's
it's about $3,000 difference, something like that. Yeah, and the difference between 0 and 300 WCS points is obviously very huge as well. I think there's 11,000 WCS points in total available from this tournament, with 150,000 in prize in total as well. So that's pretty insane. Spring's got a lot to give to a lot of these players, but you got to get into that round of 16. You got to push on.
Absolutely. Drogo right now he's got 1,600 points.
And Leipzig would have helped a lot with that. That's quite a big win.
In front of him right now is just Hydra, Snoot, and Paul, so definitely doing pretty well for himself. But there's a lot of people just right behind him in the rankings, from 1,300 to 1,200 down to the 8th place. Let's see if he can do well here against the Terran.
That's right. Let's introduce the players in an all spawn here on Dusk Towers. My Insanity's PtitDrogo. I feel like the O-gaming casters are like destroying any level of our hype. Like they are so good at they're so good at this. Look at that crowd. Look how happy France is to see one of their locals play here. And in the bottom right here from Team Liquid, it is Bunny.
The last remaining Liquid player.
Last remaining one.
I saw a gas already, I think, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, gas first does tend to happen. It's a little bit cheeky. Does tend to go for an aggressive build.
Oh, there's still the racks as well.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the maps here where I expect Drogo to play very, very standard. It's not one of the maps where you need to play aggressive, not one of the maps where it's like the absolute hardest to play against Terran. So if he has some sort of idea in the matchup, kind of like Puck had, where you play Disruptor into Tempest and all that, and he's feeling comfortable enough to try that in the first map, or even in general, I think that's what he's going to be playing here. I don't expect a crazy amount of attacks or all-ins here from Drogo. And talking about Bunny, there was a huge change overall in his play where in Heart of the Swarm, he used to be very aggressive. He was one of the guys that sometimes, on certain maps like Overgrowth, for example, he opened with a quick tech lab on his barracks, went double barracks, made concussive shells, couple marauders and marines, and would attack and try and catch a couple stalkers.
Yeah, I remember.
And even force an overcharge early on, so that later on he could attack with medivacs and do more damage. Whereas now, as a Terran, you have to be a lot more passive. Sure, you can drop mines and attack with marines in the start, but after that, you need to slow down. You need to get, liberators out. You need to try some drops here and there. But even in terms of drops, Terrans have greatly slowed down because all of the Protosses, they are very good at defending.
Yeah, very good at like pylon placement and just knowing exactly where Liberators are going to be or dropships are going to be and just picking them out of the sky with those overcharges. The Mothership Core can multiple overcharge and burn down a medevac before it can even escape if they're lucky. And it's actually extremely good against Reapers as well, but Reaper's not really a thing in their matchup at the moment. Just mainly for scouting.
Yeah,
just making the one.
Absolutely, yeah. Trying to get some sort of early game scout, make sure that, Drogo is not going to the series as like an absolute desperate guy that's going to be going for like a lot of, Stargate or crazy stuff, because there's been a few exchanges between the two, like some funny exchanges on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
As soon as, Drogo found out that he was Bunny, he expressed it very well on Twitter. Like,
I think he said
it.
He was like, Bunny should, school's very important.
Yeah,
I think
he tweeted something like that very recently as well. So like, Drogo is definitely one of those, funnier guys and vocal.
Yeah.
And he does it in a very well-mannered way as well, where he shows respect to his opponents.
That's actually how I learned that fact about how much they dislike this matchup, was them being vocal on Twitter, especially Drogo about PvT. Very, very vocal about his dislike for this matchup. But we can see that Bunny is opening for the Cyclone here, and I guess he's expecting Warp Prism play. It's actually not a bad unit, but it's mainly for drop defense. And he's possibly reading it very well here because... Yeah, Robo is up for Drogo. He's just being an observer first, though.
This is the way every single Terran would open in when Legacy of the Void just came out,
because of Prisms and Adepts and that's
Oracles as well, in particular.
Yeah,
you just get a lock on an Oracle, you shut it down. So basically, this is supposed to shut down pretty much everything except maybe like a big attack at the front, which is still very hard to make work. And now with the Reaper, he made sure that there wasn't this kind of thing happening. He's also going to try and check the timing on the third base. So it's very important to keep that Reaper alive. Here from Bunny. If he can check exactly when the third Nexus starts, which is now, it's a big piece of information which he needs to have so that he can react accordingly. I mean, in this case, he's just getting a bunch of doubles. I call it the double siege. Tank and Liberator.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be good defensively in the start. And then later on when he attacks, usually you want to try to hit the timing on your opponent's fourth base with that to make sure that you can shut it down or even lock the opponent inside of his base.
I really love Liberator openings in TVP. I think they're very, very good at keeping a Protoss opponent on their toes and trying to stretch their multitasking a little bit. But the observer of PtitDrogo coming in here and seeing exactly what's up, sees that third CC as well. Yeah, he's got all the information he could ever need. Of course, Bunny hasn't actually scouted the third Nexus just yet.
Yeah, a lot of Terrans actually would insist on trying to snipe that observer to make sure that the Protoss is playing without information, but Bunny, no. He wants to use his mules, he wants to have more economy, kind of like, in a bomber-esque style where you don't really care what your opponent's doing. You're more focusing on you and getting more units out.
Yeah. And Drogo did see that Liberator pop out, so he's got all the information, all the time in the world to be able to deflect it. And already the pylons are, he's a clever Protoss, he's not a dumb Protoss. So he's got his pylons in exactly where they need to be to deal with Liberators, in the early game at least.
Yeah. The big question, though, what is it going to be behind this? Is it going to be Storm or Disruptor? We saw Disruptors able to do very well. Like, although Puck lost that series to Maza, I mean, Maza was playing fantastic. So a big chance, I think, that it's Disruptor here behind this from Drogo if he wanted to.
That one pylon needs to finish for him to fight off this Liberator, and he does actually finish it. So Liberator excuses himself, and these Blinkstalkers are actually going to look for some high ground here and touch on the production of Bunny. In they go, and they're going to get a reactor at least.
Oh, he might have been able to get Stim.
If he gets Stim, that's pretty incredible, but it's a lot of Marines here. He's going to be very careful. Obviously, he has Blink, and these Marines don't have Stim just yet. Cyclone helping out a little bit. He can blink that Stalker down, and he does.
Such a sick micro, just pulling back the one Stalker. Like, a lot of people would have just blinked down and gotten out, but no, he got the most out of the situation, then gets out, resumes the macro back at home at the same time. Robo's on the way. There's going to be additional gateways as well. And that third base already being saturated as well. This is just... Look at how many probes he's got there.
Yeah, getting into all the gateways, dropping that the glaives there for the adept attack speed. And, I mean, once 1-1 finishes for Bunny, though, which is on the way, he's going to be very, very efficient against this gateway heavy army that is on the way here for Drogo. Some drop play here with some Stalkers, but we see his tank being put into position. Cyclone here targeting that Warp Prism. Is he going to get it? He's being zoned out. Cyclone goes down, Prism's alive.
Wow, this is sick.
Very nice for Drogo.
We don't really see this often here. He's going to be able to not only get the Cyclone, but get a couple SCVs, some units, and then get out.
Yeah, absolutely. Not losing a single thing, just some damage on the Prism and the Stalkers. Very good trade for Drogo.
Behind this, though, he hasn't really started. Okay, I was
There they
really
are.
wondering where were those forges, where are these either RoboBear or Templar Archive. So far, neither of them has gone down, just the double forge for now. So it's going to be a lot of gateway units.
And the gateway...
And double immortal production.
Oh, wow.
So again, okay, there we go. A RoboBear, actually. I thought he was maybe going to stay on a lot of immortals, which can work. But as soon as there is too many liberators, which usually is every game, because Terran just doesn't move out too much and stays on a lot of liberator, you're kind of toast with this army, so...
Yeah, the Terran actually doesn't want to engage the Protoss army at all. They kind of just want to stay back, defend, get power, and just be that army supply advantage above or upgrade advantage above, and just steamroll when they can. Because an engagement with the Protoss army can often go pretty bad, especially with all the splash damage that they get in the mid to late game, and those Immortals are extremely good at dealing with the armored units like Marauders and that sort of thing. That said, though, not that many Marauders for Bunny. He's been mainly concentrating on Marine production. 2-2 on the way as well. Is going to look really good with the upgrades.
That's very early. And he's already got
Fusion
the
core
Fusion core for the range here.
Yeah, then there it goes.
So Bunny, actually, the push he's going to go for when he has that is going to be super scary. And in this case, Drogo, he's got double Stargates on the way, sure. But I actually kind of like the choice of going for the fourth base on the right-hand side over the other one.
A bit of a scuffle here in the middle. He's just out of... There's one force field. He does actually boxed out four of the... one Marauder, three of the Marines there. But Bunny feels like he has enough to press the issue here. And he gets a couple units. Then he pulls back into the safety of the Liberator.
He traded and got back. Okay, I was saying I like this base over the other one because the other one is so easy to see it from the high ground if you just move up behind it. But in this case...
Oh, a big warp in here.
And even now, Drogo is throwing away a lot of units here. Sure, he will maybe do some damage and kill a few SCVs, but it's only 5. And he's going to lose a lot of adepts. And behind this, Bunny's army is going to be massive if he wants to attack with it.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, he needs to do more damage than this, though.
Yeah, definitely not worth it. But we got another push on the side here, and a lot of Bunny's units are in the main. He needs to pick them up and bring them down here to defend. This is 2 Immortals. He needs to take this very seriously.
He needs to unload down the ramp here. So many SCVs have been sniped, but I don't know if it's enough because it's 72 probes against 62 SCVs. And look at this!
Oh, Bunny's got this. He's going to kill the Immortal here. Disruptor shot coming through. Does connect with some of the Marauders and the Marines at the back, but he's going to actually kill the Disruptor, kill the Immortal.
Wow, some big trades here. Bunny still quite a bit ahead in supply. Not sure if he has enough to just counterattack right now. I believe that the range from of the Liberators was completed, and now he's going to have to too. So actually, if he was to attack sometime soon, Bunny will have a big advantage. 70 army supply to 52 Maynard. This could be really scary.
That's pretty sick. With 2-2, absolutely is going to be a huge timing for Bunny if he hits it. It looks like he's going to, but we do know that the Fleet Beacon is done. Tempest now joining the field. Just about to say that unit is on the way, and that's very good against the Liberators, but he needs to get to that point. Going to lose a Disruptor here for nothing, and an engagement with Bunny. He's actually trading it relatively nicely here. 2-2 just about to finish. It would help him so much, but he's actually losing a lot on the ground.
Just before the 2-2, he lost so much.
But he trades pretty weird. Like he actually killed a lot of the Protoss army there. Gonna get the Oracle as well. More adepts here for the reinforcement. I definitely don't think he should overextend here.
He needs to pull back, might have to pick up even. Just gonna try to defend in that position. There is a big chunk of army coming in from behind, but the Liberator gets sniped before.
Big reinforcement, and these guys do have 2-2 now, so this is very dangerous for this Gateway army, and we can see how badly this trade's going for Drogo.
Is Bunny forgetting a lot of units? It feels like he should have more. Okay, there we go. He finally rejoined with the rest, especially like the Liberators. I was wondering what they were the whole time, because I saw a couple in production.
Well, they're here, and they're starting to do some damage on the ground. This one Void Ray not going to be enough. He really needs those Tempests. One just joining the field here. There should be double production of Tempest.
Okay, here we go. Tempest plus Disruptor. Can this work? He's just so far behind his supply here. It's Drogo.
Yeah, it's just too much bio on the ground by the looks of it. He's tearing apart the ground. The Tempest DPS is not high enough. The Liberator's not even joining the battle. There goes the Tempest. One Tempest goes down, one still alive. And there's enough from Bunny to still do some damage. A reinforcement especially going to help a lot. And he's pressing the issue here. He wants this Nexus to die.
Bunny's super solid here in map number 1. He got 2-2 before his opponent even started his.
And look at the army supply difference, 78, 80 to 25. He's just got way too much Terran here, Todd. He's just killing him, and everything that Drogo's warping in just doesn't seem to be enough for Bunny. He just keeps on the pressure. He's just not going to stop. He's going to keep doing this until the game ends. More reinforcement. We got the more Marines, more Marauders here. They are upgraded. The upgrade advantage, still looking great for Bunny.
There isn't many Marines to clear this Tempest, but I mean, I don't think he even cares.
Yeah, I mean, the rate of fire is so low that he can just start to target fire this next with the reinforcements now, I feel. I mean, they are slowly trickling in, but yeah, there they go.
26 probes have been sniped, and I think this might be it here for the French Protoss in map number 1. Dust Towers one of the supposed better maps here for Protoss to try and deal with Terran on.
A very good PvT map, you're absolutely right, but Bunny is just, I mean, he's really kicked it into gear from the mid-game onwards. He's taken him by the reins. Really sick play here from the Team Liquid Terran, and this is the kind of stuff that Team Liquid wants to see. They need this player in the round of 16 to show their team that they really are still extremely relevant in StarCraft 2.
So funny, actually, that Bunny didn't just attack. He's like pulling back. He's taking his time. You want to stay in the game
He knows he's in a great spot.
Sure.
He's taking it easy, man. I actually respect this a lot. I bet Artosis is on the couch going, this is the correct decision. Make the game go longer, take extra bases.
Just finish him. But yeah, not much left here for the French Protoss. A pretty rough game number one here. And I feel like if you want to go for the kind of big gateway aggression with a lot of War Prism all over the place and commitment to, you know, doing damage, you need to commit to it entirely. Don't take to Tempest at the same time. Drop down more gateways and make your War Pins even bigger.
Look at that
to actually
income
try
difference.
and finish the game or do critical damage.
And the big story there is, look at him. He's 80 supply up in army on PtitDrogo and change. So he just has, he can engage the army easy peasy, A move stim, and it would probably be all over. He's going to take out these cannons, just cleaning up what's left of the remains of PtitDrogo's 4th Nexus. And that is his army right there.
Yeah, I don't know how PtitDrogo is supposed to win this one here, really. When you have this little supply compared to your opponents, he would need the biggest and best detonations from the Disruptor.
He would need to be the most clutch Disruptor shots of all time. Absolutely. There's a lot of Bio here. He doesn't even lead the Liberators at this point. Just the Bio should do the trick. The Protoss army coming down here. Disruptor's not getting the craziest good connections, but he has another chance. Bunny getting through the middle of the map here. A little bit more of an open choke. He's already pre-splitting his units and moving in. Lots of Vikings in the sky for those Tempests as well.
I think Bunny's happy to go up on 5 bases against a 3-base Protoss.
Oh, it's just so much Bio. The Disruptor shot's not connecting with anything, and they're on cooldown, and now it is time for Bunny to strike. This is like the Monty Python Bunny here. He is going to tear him apart, rip out his throat, and take this game number one. GG! Easy, Pete. He made that look easy, man. From the mid-game onwards, Bunny was so in control.
And I'm not so sure about a prediction here anymore after this game number one.
I feel, yeah, that's shaking me a little bit with my prediction. I'm definitely starting to waver a little bit here.
That was so solid here by Bunny from start to finish. He knew exactly what he had to do, and this is the good old Bunny that was known as one of the scariest Terran versus Protoss player in Art of the Swarm. The guy that beats Korean Terrans and made it look easy at times.
Yeah, such an incredible player, and it's great to see him in form again.
Sorry, like he would beat like a lot of Korean Protosses in tournaments and just make it look like he was nothing to him. He didn't care.
And then the newbie Terrans like myself will see it. They'll go, hell yeah, I can do this. And you go to ladder and you get like a 9% TVP win rate. Just Maynard style.
In the European scene, like a lot of people were scared of him. I was dead scared of him because I always had like a bad Protoss versus Terran. I remember like I had to play him once in WCS and I got like absolutely destroyed as well. Like this guy was just so... I played him in a DreamHack round of 16 as well, and every time like he never went my way. He was just such a beast against Protoss back then. Now we're on Legacy of the Void. Like, you know, obviously the game is very different. He's not full-time anymore, but he's still packing a punch for sure here.
Yeah, and he's up against a full-time player, so it's pretty amazing to see like a lot of natural skill in Bunny to be able to look that strong in a game number one against a player that just plays all day and all night. So pretty sick play, and we can see that this is a very, very close, scrappy engagement here in the middle.
That was weird because he was before 2-2. Like you didn't mention that both players traded, but
yeah,
fighting just before 2-2 like this can be like a little bit bad if you're gonna lose units. So
yeah, the 2-2 is done at this point, and getting that Oracle was pretty crazy as well. That was just sort of floating there, and that was a really easy pick off for Bunny. And yeah, this is very scrappy, very dirty play from both players there.
You can't even pull back from this, that's the thing, because that edge just transferred forward here, so Drogo got a little bit overeager and got punished for it. His initial aggression is what really put him behind, I think.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to make sure his builds are a little bit more crisp, because Bunny's defense was fantastic last game.
Well, that's game one, and we are in game two. In the bottom right here from My Insanity, the French Protoss, this is PtitDrogo.
Does he slow down, or does he go even more aggressive?
He needs to go mum spaghetti, man. And in the bottom left here, from Team Liquid with an incredible game number one, it is Bunny.
Very impressive performance so far here in map number one, for sure, against a very scary opponent. You know, we mentioned how Drogo has been doing much better this year than Bunny. He's been a lot more active, currently 4th in the WCS World rankings. Not too shabby, not bad at all.
I'd be pretty happy about it. I'd subtly brag every now and then. If someone said, oh, you know, you're not playing very well lately, I'll go, well, where are you in the WCS rankings, mate? And, you know, that'll shut him up.
Definitely would, yeah. But on a map like this, actually, with the way the last game went, that's basically why I was saying, will Drogo slow down or will he play more aggressive? Because that's a big question he needs to ask himself and make a decision on very early on here. He needs to know exactly what kind of game he wants to go into, even before really seeing what Terran's going to go into themselves, in which case, Drogo might have to have a change of plan on the fly. But yeah, on a map like this, it's horizontal spawns and...
close by air, lots of drop play, gold base as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So it feels like Tempest will be very strong, and defending with Blink Stalkers definitely will be better than usual. So I think like going into Disruptor and then Tempest and playing more passive than usual could be very good. But if Drogo's been practicing a lot, the build that we saw last game with the War Prism, big aggression into Tempest and solid play, he might still try to do this, just execute it better than last game. But I mean, Bunny in defense is just so insanely good. It's so hard to do damage. Like how many adepts were warping? Like 7. He was attacking with Blink Stalkers.
He had probably 7 or 8 gateways. Yeah. Like it was just powering the adepts out.
And he cleared out as well the Cyclone originally to even allow later on the harassment. So with all the stuff that was decently going the way of Drogo, and he still got shut down in the end, honestly, I find it very discouraging for him to go for any kind of big aggression the way he did it before.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's game 1. Maybe he's shaking it off a little bit here. I mean, he is on stage. He's in front of his home crowd. A lot of pressure on Drogo here. And, like, we all favored him to win here. So it's maybe the pressure is on the player a lot. It's really hard to say. We're not in that booth.
Maybe a War Prism with a couple adepts, like you do some damage and then you kind of, quit it and come back later with the real strong army and big army. Yep. I think would be a very good way to go about this. Even in the game where Puck had some success and won... or in the 2 games, in the last few games, let's just say that, where Puck was playing against Massa earlier, he was using that very well. Instead of going straight into a Disruptor drop, he was dropping adepts and doing some damage with some very good micros. So I think it's one of the better ways, to open solid, do some damage, take some info, and propel yourself into the mid-game.
So this is looking like a very different opening here from PtitDrogo. He's not going Blink first. He's going straight for the Resonating Glaives. He's put an extra couple gateways in the back there. So looking like he's going to be cheeky with the adepts here shortly. But Bunny, once again, going for the safer opening, getting that Cyclone. He's going to be, the tool that he needs against Warp Prism and that sort of thing. And he actually sees the 3 adepts here with this Reaper.
He got shut down, though.
Yeah, it does lose it, and that sucks. I mean, he's not going to see the extra gateways.
Yeah, that's very important. Actually, what he's not going to see, even more on top of that, is the 3rd base. Because last game, remember, the Reaper had to stay alive to spot that 3rd base. So now, going for multiple adept like this from Drogo and shutting down that Reaper is maybe going to force... okay, he's going to force Bunny to scout with an SCV, which you can also shut down. And I was actually thinking about this. Did Drogo pick up on the fact that Bunny last game went for a very quick 3rd command starter, which if you don't punish, you kind of fall behind a lot of the time. I think he picked up on it, and he decided to try and punish it
with
in
the
this
Oracle.
game completely.
I mean, with the Observer, he's seen that 3rd CC in the main. And Bunny, like he's not going to have enough units. It just definitely doesn't seem like he's getting the extra barracks though. And there's the Warp Prism. It's heading across, and he's going to have a big warp in when that thing deploys.
The Cyclone needs to snipe the Warp Prism immediately, or maybe even see it like this, and he's going to spot it as well.
The Liberator did spot it. Scan going down there. He doesn't see an Observer, but he does know that he is about to be attacked here. The Adepts are moving in.
Where does the War Prism go? That's a big decision that right now Drogo needs to take. He's going to send the Adepts into the natural and go with the Prism in the main, or is he going to
clear that Cyclone? Needs to be away from that Cyclone, and the Bowl of Marines. It looks like it's the Liberator is actually covering the ground here in front of the natural.
Bunny's defense, he was perfect in map number 1, or very good. Can it be that good again here in map number 2?
There's a big Bowl of Adepts here, and they're warping straight past here.
The War Prism is flying to the Cyclone? No, it moved it!
Oh, the Cyclone's come down to help with his attack here in the natural, and the main is naked here for Bunny. I think that Drogo's going to get a big whoop in here. He does. A lot of the Adepts coming in, and I think he's going to lose a lot of his SCVs here.
Wow, this could be game here. This is a big, big mistake. He didn't need to send a Cyclone into the natural, but there was a lot of Adepts, so he got scared. These Adepts are just going to wreck and kill everything, Maynard.
They absolutely are, and it looks like the Cyclone is going to get the Warp Prism, but the Cyclone's going to die, and another big shade-in of Adepts here. The main is completely in shambles, and it just looks like Drogo's done it. He's going to tie the series. 1 Liberator is not going to be enough.
Yeah, even if Bunny holds here, he's down to 5 SCVs against 37 probes. Those Adepts are going to keep on transferring, keep on going around, even attacking the tank now.
Yeah, and they're going to get it.
There's just not much he can do, even the follow-up War Prism.
That's critical damage. The CCU is going to get repaired. It's going to get repaired, but that is critical damage, man. Look at the supply differences, and the income difference is going to tell the tale here. Bunny is in the Stone Age. He has been knocked back. He's lost almost all of his income.
The Stone Age.
Yeah.
I like that. And he's going to face a a very technologically advanced Protoss here with the Blink on the way.
He's going to have Blink. He's going to have a lot more units. He already has all those gateways. Another big warp in from Drogo is almost certainly going to seal the deal here. But I've seen miracles in StarCraft before, and it definitely would be a miracle, to say the least, if Bunny managed to fight back here.
Third Nexus on the way, Blink as well.
Yep.
And Drogo just too good a plan here to be defended by Bunny. Bunny needed to basically catch the War Prism as it was entering his main. It's a big mistake by him to send it on the natural. Like, you see a lot of adepts going like that for your natural. You should know there's probably going to be a Prism in your main. Didn't quite realize what was happening, and he's going to pay the big price for it.
And here comes a Liberator, and it's very deep here, so an overcharge. Yeah, it's dead.
3,
2, 1, there it is. So a double overcharge, and there goes the Liberator. Actually got a lot more probes than I thought it would. Forces a lift here, killed all the SCVs, or forced an ejection of all the SCVs here in the natural. The bunker out of position here for these adepts, only covering the ramp. Siege tank very damaged. That CC may actually burn down now. That's very, very close. I think there's still SCVs. Yeah, he's making 2 SCVs at a time. So
with a supply difference this big, I think Drogo can just make Stalkers Blink in the main and end it in here in a second. I think he might even just do that in the natural here.
A lot of Marines in the main. They don't want all those adepts in the production again. But Drogo really just can do whatever he wants at this point. He doesn't have a Liberator covering the ramp anymore. He has 1 very damaged siege tank, 2 Marines inside of a bunker with most of the Marines inside the main, and this Protoss army looks very unstoppable. Todd blinking aggressively, straight at the tanks. GG! The French Protoss gets himself a tied series. Who actually looks very exhausted or stressed out from that game.
Yeah, I mean, after this map number 1,
whoa, I think that crowd! I actually haven't seen the crowd yet. I've been on the B stream, man. That is sick.
I think after the map number 1 here, Drogo knew that there was no room for mistake on this map in particular, and he needed a solid win. When you lose on Dust Towers in map number 1, usually you're not doing very well. So now he picked a very good build to try and punish the greedy third command center of his opponents. And I feel like if you're Bunny here, you have to start wondering, do I need to play a little bit less greedy and not do third command center? Because there is a chance this guy who usually likes to play standard, take third bases and not really commit to big attacks too much, right now is really feeling it. He wants to play aggressive. But it's funny because, like, it's not really Drogo style. I feel like out of somebody like Lil Bo, you will see a lot of builds like this, you know, mixed up in a series. But Drogo has really stepped it up and become a little bit less predictable as of late.
Well, you wanted to know if he would amp it up and get aggressive in game number 2, and he definitely answered that question for you. And this is the game-winning play here. This was the early game attack here from Drogo, where he did critical damage to Bunny.
It's the Christmas warp-in.
The Christmas warp-in. Doesn't feel like Christmas when you're on the receiving end, Todd. That's yeah. I mean, the infrastructure of Bunny in complete tatters. The adepts killed pretty much all of his income. We saw the income tab after this big warp-in here. There was almost nothing for Bunny, and really that destroyed his hope of recovering. I mean, it's a game of numbers.
And the thing about this attack here is that it's basically an all-in. It's a huge commitment to go for this many gateways, not to take the gases on the natural for Protoss. And War Prism is a pretty fragile unit. If he had flown in the main, the Cyclone had locked onto that War Prism and sniped it. Drogo is so far behind. He has 7 gates that he can't even use back at home to really do anything. He can make a depth, but nothing else.
It was actually interesting to me that Bunny brought the Cyclone down to help that attack on the natural, because he had the Liberator there, and maybe he just felt like he didn't have enough for the initial attack that he just had to prove.
He could have just evacuated. It's just like a misreaction, which, again, for us as observers, it's very easy to criticize and stuff. I mean, but when you're in the heat of the moment, you have to make split-second decisions. And Bunny just made the wrong one this time around, sadly for him, so he's going to lose that second game. Yeah, well, we saw how good he was in game number 1, and I'm sure he has the caliber to be able to shake it off and show us how good he is in game 3, which will be starting very, very shortly. In fact, it's happening right now in the top left here. Winning map number 2 and tying this series, it is My Insanity's PtitDrogo. With perhaps another aggressive build here?
Perhaps. And in the bottom right from Team Liquid, this is Bunny.
I asked Drogo earlier about this map, and he was telling me that he played it quite a bit against Terran, so it's not actually one of the maps where he feels the most uncomfortable on. So it's going to be interesting to see how he chooses to play it in terms of when do you take a third and how do you go about defending it? Because it can be tricky in terms of, you know, vision. You have a lot of space around that. Like, that third base is kind of far, you know, and need a little bit of a out of I don't even know what to call it, you know, like weird position, basically.
Out of position, yeah. I mean, this is actually a very, very good Blink Stalker map as well. So there's a lot of cliff and, you know, just side of the main there to really abuse as a Protoss.
It's funny, as you say that, I saw something in your eye, like you've lost against Blink Stalkers on this map before.
I mean, once or twice. Actually, even though it's happened to me a lot, this is my favorite new map, Frozen Temple. Yeah, I like it quite a bit.
Because it reminds you of another famous temple that there was before in StarCraft?
I don't miss that one that we're talking about. I know what you're talking about, man. I don't miss that one. I actually played Zerg back then. If I was Terran, I'd be fine, because I could, you know, just walk a siege tank over and siege immediately. But yeah, I was playing Zerg back in Wings of Liberty, so...
Oh, really? I didn't know that about you.
No, it's true, yeah. I was playing Zerg in Wings of Liberty, so I actually hated Lost Temple
From
and Shadow
Zerg
Temple.
to Terran, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
I made the switch to Heart of the Swarm. I haven't made the switch to Protoss yet. Well, what I did is I was like, I'm going to play 50 games of Terran, and I had an account for every race. I'm going to play 50 games of Terran, then 50 games of Protoss, but I had so much fun playing those 50 games. That's the story. I just never stopped.
Wow, that's really cool, actually.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Bunny with the second gas here. Could I be heading into a factory momentarily? Could be going for some Hellion or Widowmine play very easily if you wanted to. Maybe a cheeky Cloak Banshee to try and surprise, even though like...
cheeky Cloak Banshee.
Yeah, most Protosses will almost always get their Robo on time to defend against something like that.
And especially considering this map and the fact that you're very likely going to have an Observer out, it's pretty easy to be able to deflect the Banshee, especially with like the, you know, the overcharged pylons and that sort of thing, relatively spread out in the main, which they always are.
Hey, we shouldn't read too much into it, you know. Could be just for like some Liberators as well.
It's the go-to unit. It's very, very good against Protoss in the early game. I love Liberator openings. There's that Robo facility there from Drogo.
But it's already a big change here from Bunny, though, from the previous games, where this time around, he didn't rush for the third command center.
Yeah.
It's not there yet. So maybe playing a little bit less greedy, maybe he's learned the lesson from last game, even though, like, again, if he had been able to shut down that Prism, his third command center would have gone unpunished, and then he would have been really far ahead.
Yeah, as simple as, like, it's hard to say because you can't read in the future, but it does certainly feel like if the Cyclone was still in the main, that it would have made a massive difference in that game.
You know, it drives me crazy, actually, that so many Terrans, you punish them one time with the build that Drogo just did because they go for third command center, and then in the next game they still do it. And then you don't go for a punishing build. And you're like, oh God, I should have just done it again. they never learn, but it's a good mind game, you know, to play.
Yeah, and you're quite right here. So Bunny kind of 1-1-1-ing right now instead of, you know, going tech heavy instead of going greedy, getting a nice quick Liberator out, and he's already got that Cyclone on the way at the tech lab. So a very safe opening, but also can stand across and do some damage on the other side. Drogo not really with an incredible pylon spread here. There is actually a space for the Liberator at the top there, but
he messed up actually I think maybe the placement of the Cybercore. He placed it like one too high. So you had to make the Twilight, like usually you can make the Twilight between the core, gas, and pylon. But now you have to make it like a little bit out of position.
That's interesting. Didn't notice that.
Yeah, usually that in that position doesn't really matter. Like you can defend very easily because like there is a lot of there is no dead space or anything behind it. You know, it's the end of the map. So
it's looking like a very similar opening to Game 1 actually on Dust Towers. And Frozen Temple is kind of like, you know, a nice safe-ish macro map like Dust Towers, but with a little bit harder to defend your third.
And actually, this opener like this, going for Starport and stuff, it's a very Euthermal-esque build where you go straight for Liberators and stuff. Remember Euthermal?
I remember
one player
Euthermal.
that went very far in the DreamHack Leipzig, and he was only stopped by Drogo back then. And he beat a lot of other Protosses with this kind of builds.
Yeah.
But yeah, Euthermal though stays on 2 bases for a very long time, whereas Bunny here still went for the third CC. So maybe he's trying to mislead his opponent into thinking that he's committing to 2 bases for the most part.
He's actually getting a Stalker there and a couple probes.
That's a sick position.
Yeah, really nice spot here for the Liberator and the natural of PtitDrogo. And as we expected, Blink on the way here with a Prism for PtitDrogo. Almost every Protoss wants to do this against Terran on this map.
Can he actually shoot?
Yeah, he can. But he's going to lose Stalkers for it though. He's lost a lot for this Liberator. That Liberator has paid for itself and then some.
What a hero.
Yeah, 3 Stalkers and 4 probes, man. It's pretty good.
A beast.
I'd be happy with that for sure. And that third's finished up for Drogo, and he is getting that income, and he's going to be looking pretty. The third CC also got made for Bunnies, turning into orbital right now.
Do you think Drogo maybe wants to be aggressive here because of what happened? Thinks he's behind? Yeah, it looks like he's moving across the map.
Okay. Well, with the Observer here, and also with the Prism as well, he's going to be very, very annoying for the Terran. As he walks in a few more
not that many
Stalkers.
Stalkers against 2 tanks, though.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Goodbye.
Big volley of tanks there. See you later. There's still a lot of clip space.
They just got EMP'd. They got no shield.
Well spotted, Todd. I can see why you get the big bucks. I'm going to pick off there. So just a scouting marine. So, I mean, there's a lot of cliff space to be abusing here as with the blink stalkers, but it looks like Bunny's identified that little weakness, moved some units in position. Bunny not taking too many chances here.
Whoa, what? Was he almost
I think he
moving
killed
up?
the observer.
Yeah, but like, does he not realize there's a lot of stalkers about to blink forward and snipe the tanks?
Oh, getting attacked there. That's a very nice pickoff. Very bold move there from Bunny. It does have to re-siege and take it a little bit easier here. He's still up against quite a few blink stalkers. That Prism's still alive as well.
Bunny maybe getting a little bit overeager here.
I guess he feels like he has enough. There's so many stalkers still. The third being floated out.
This is great by PtitDrogo to buy time like this, make sure Terran doesn't take
he
that
can actually
third
go
base.
straight to the main.
Yeah, he might. Oh, he's gonna do that?
It looks like it.
He's
going
walk
straight
in
up there.
Well.
In go the stalkers. This is another bold move here from Drogo, and he's going to pick off a lot of units here. Gets the siege now. The siege tank gets pulled out. Nice reaction there from Bunny, and the stalkers are starting to dwindle. Got a bit of damage done.
Keep in mind, in the meantime, by the way, he's saturated on that third base. He's getting more gateways. His second road.
Look at his probe count. 66 probes already to the 54 SCVs of Bunny, and he's still delaying this third CC.
Yeah, so Drogo taking a nice lead here through some good aggression. Map number 1, not successful, but in that third game, definitely finds a way here to do enough damage. Even though originally that was that Liberator that had done the only damage that had been dealt.
Yeah, I think so. The Liberator was the really good damage dealer for Bunny, and I guess those two siege tanks are doing very nicely for him as well. But that move out was a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
1-1's done now. He's going to be trading very, very nicely against that Gateway Army. So just getting the Forges now, so no upgrades for the Gateway Army for a little while here. He is already up to disrupt the tech, though. The Robotics Bay got done during that blink attack, and he is getting that big, scary splash damage unit out.
Does Bunny know that there's a War Prism that could fly into his main? Because he's placing Marines at the bottom to try and intercept it. So there's a very real possibility he's waiting for that.
Yeah, it actually kind of looks that way.
That's really sick, actually. If you're able to catch that as well, it's so good. Templar Archives this time.
Whoa, that's a lot
when
of
he
splash
already
damage.
has the double.
He's going to go charge Lord Archon, man, with Immortals. Ooh.
But I think he made a Robo Bay, though.
He did. No, he's been making disruptors. He's made 2 at least.
That's a bit weird to go this fast into Templar Archives. I wonder what the plan is here.
Just to get insane splash damage and destroy the
Yeah.
Terran. I think that's the plan.
Usually, like, you wouldn't rush into Storm in this position.
When you tech too hard, you're open for a lot of attacks. It's very
it's
true.
like he drops his target now and goes straight into Tempest as well. Like, I don't think so, but yeah, maybe just charge out Archons, Immortals, and just go for the attack.
It's a very, very strong army, very hard at the Swarmish.
Yeah, we're at the time already where it would be hard to pull off this attack, and Bunny has 2-2 on the way though, so that timing where this could hit and do some damage is not going to be very long. But maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe Drogo is already looking past that and he's going to be taking to Tempest here in a moment, no matter what.
He had an incredible economy advantage for a little while there, but I mean, Bunny has caught up. He's actually ahead in the work account now, and with the mules taking that mineral advantage.
Yeah, so I think Drogo is just basically going to go for a third base here, which he just started. He's going to threaten with the War Prism to go for the counter-attack as Bunny moves out, and then behind this, he's just going to go standard tech into Tempest with the Stargates in a minute.
Double Liberator coming out of here at the starport. It's always a scary thing for the Protoss to see. But, you know, we will be seeing Tempest at some point. It's always the best answer against Liberators. And he does actually see with the edge of that Observer, I'm sure he was watching that mini-map, that there is a big push here from Bunny. Has siege tanks in the medevacs as well. Oh, a charge lot run by here. Possibly some Prism play, and the Zealots are getting some damage.
And the War Prism in the main was shut down by that turret here very nicely. He's going to get a cancel on that 4th command center here.
It looks like it.
But the big push
Drogo
here.
actually has to deal with this big push, and he gets the disruptor. Both disruptors go down. The siege tanks are getting hit from the left though, and the bio actually has to deal. Look how much splash damage is here. There's Immortals for the Marauders, and there's Archons as well doing a lot of splash damage on the Marines. It's just not enough from the Terran to be able to engage.
Oh, 13 SCVs died though in the meantime.
Yeah. Oh god. Drogo's still pressing the issue here. Bunny just seeing now that his army is still under attack.
Bunny needs the Liberators. All those medivacs have been shut down as well. He needs to pull back. He needs to regroup.
He's actually pulled back all the way to production. He's natural. And Drogo has a lot of units here. Oh, reinforcement there from Bunny. And then natural, he does have a lot more bio now. And with the 2-2, Drogo needs to take it very, very seriously and be very careful. An overextension would have cost him.
No signs of any tech to Tempest. Drogo really committing to the Robo and Gateway units here that he's getting. No Stargates.
Yeah, not a single one. Pretty interesting. So just going Disruptor and heavy ground forces, relying on Archons and that sort of thing for anti-air damage?
If Bunny knew, I think he'd just sit back, get 10 Liberators, attack, and then profit.
Oh, so much splash damage here in this army, and a lot of charge lots as well. A very beefy army. The upgrade's still in Bunny's favor. He's actually making medevacs he lost a lot of the medevacs, so he has to make them to replenish.
This army of Drogo right now, it's really great against Bio. It's only weak to two things, Ghosts and Liberators. And right now, there's really not much of either. There's 0 Ghosts and only 3 Liberators. So
it's really, I'm not actually remembering the last TVP I watched where there was only 3 Liberators at this point in the game. With Bunny getting the spin
Wings
back.
of Liberty.
And we've got the Spin Marines pulling back here. The Liberators now joining the fight. The Archon's doing so much damage. A reinforcement though of Bunny. Look how many Bunny units on the left. And PtitDrogo has to be pushed back with his tail between his legs. He's losing all of his army, Todd.
There was a critical mass here from Bunny, who's going to completely crush this army. And I mean, from there, it's going to be so hard for Drogo to recover.
He's up 40 army supply. He's in an insane spot.
He had 2-2. Bunny had 2-2. That's the big thing here.
He shred through the gateway units, and the Archons not enough to be able to just engage directly head-on with them. He didn't have Storm, and the Disruptors weren't doing anything.
What a series, man.
Yeah.
A Liberator does damage. Drogo says, you want to do some work? I'll do some work too. Counters attack with Blink Stalkers, does a lot of damage. And then from there, it's Bunny somehow, who just completely outproduces him. And so far, he's been doing great with his massive bio.
There's a couple charge lots actually doing a lot for their investment here in the main.
2-2 finishing now for the Protoss player, but Terran is about to have +3 attack upgrades, and he's just got 110 armor supply against 43. Good luck, have fun.
Stepping up the ramp, the Archons retreating, and they go down without shooting. Oh, that Disruptor hit was insane! And then actually turns the table here. Bunny still has a lot of units though, and he's stemming up the ramp. The Disruptors are about to get their recharge on the Purification Nova.
Where are the overcharges?
I don't know if the Mothership Core's there, Todd. And it looks like the Disruptors are going down. This time, does Bunny have enough? I think the charge lot warp in here might just be enough. Oh, the Liberator in the sky, though.
The kiting has been insane from Bunny this entire game.
2 more Disruptors on the way for PtitDrogo. He's clinging out his defense here. Bunny just has so much more going for him. Oh! And another Disruptor. He actually split a little bit better there. And there's a second one coming through. That's a very nice connection there by PtitDrogo. And Bunny, does he have enough to seal the deal here? The Disruptor's getting a little bit fresh. They go down to the bio units. The charge lot's pressing him back, but the Stalkers in the back as well.
Drogo trying to stay alive, trying to finally get the defense that he needs here. Remember, he's on 4 bases against a 4-base Terran. If he somehow has a convincing hold one time, he's going to have a good chance to win. But right now, he's taking some economic damage.
He's in the mineral line. 10 probes have gone down. He's doing so much econ damage. If he gets that pile, he can cancel that warp in as well. But he does actually get in a lot of the charge lots. And a lot of these units are quite hurt, but they +3 attack.
Look at the
gateway units.
Oh, he's never going to stop. This is never going to stop.
That's the death rally. The march of pain from the Terran here. 7 Marines at a time, 3 Marines at a time, and he's making double Liberators, Todd. This is going to get harder and harder for Drogo as the game goes on. And Disruptor goes down, and Bunny is in a really good spot. Just taking out the Zealots one by one, trading as well as he can. Another drop there at the Nexus, taking out more probes. 9 more going down here for Bunny. He's in an insane spot. He's going to get the Nexus as well. 2 more Archons on the way for Drogo, but that is not going to be enough.
The Danish pain train is not stopping,
the
Maynard.
Danish pain train.
Just riding units across the map, and there's always too much. The kiting is spot on here from Bunny the whole time. Drogo's running out of units every single time. He's just on the verge of getting enough units to hold, but now having lost his force, he's going to be game.
That's it, GG. And once again, Bunny takes the lead in the series, 2-1. Wow, this French crowd is really behind Drogo. You can see the difference between when Drogo won game 2 and when Bunny won game 3. Not a peep. Could hear a nail drop in there.
Yeah. Drogo, honestly, like, he showed some very good things in this game, but at the same time, his plan just not quite good enough. Like, playing with this many gateway units for this long is also what I think cost him the first game. You need to commit to attacks earlier if you want to play that style, before the real upgrades kick in, before Terran is 2-2, because once there is 2-2, these gateway units are the worst thing in the world. Like, they're actually like trash. They do absolutely nothing. So here, this is what happened again, where he committed a lot to gateway units with very few robo units, no Tempest in sight, no Storm, just Archons. And Bunny, in terms of playing a standard game, macro, defending and all that, he's just such a good player that this kind of build just doesn't seem to work against him.
Yeah, he really put the screws to Drogo in game number 3 there, and I still feel like we kind of messed up our predictions getting into game number 4. I mean, it hasn't ended yet. Could go either way, but yeah, I felt like it was going to be a close series. Both these players are so insanely evenly matched.
The kiting here was so sick, by the way. Like, the Zealots, they barely ever hit. And this is why actually almost nobody goes Zealots nowadays.
Yeah, they tend to favor Adepts with the range and like especially with Glaives.
You saw why.
Yeah.
By the way, Bunny needs to watch a few Massa replays here or like VODs because these splits were
that
like
hit there, yeah. That was
really not that good. As good as the kiting wise, the splitting was the opposite.
Yeah. All you Terrans out there that are frustrating against Protoss and against Banelings as well, if you're having trouble against that splash damage, hit up that Marine Trader in the custom maps. And one day you can be like Massa.
One day.
Insane splitter.
If you practice enough.
That kid was insane. I watched Puck and Massa play from the couch back there, splitting my attention between that crazy B stream game as well. That was like the most insane hour of esports in recent memory.
Esports, history was literally made on stream.
And Tasteless, exactly. Tasteless. He said that as well. Yeah. Oh, God, I love Tasteless. What a god.
He's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. So
we
can't wait for this next game.
Yeah, it's very hard for him as well. It must be very hard to kind of, stay composed. He kind of looked devastated after that loss. Even though he looked devastated as well when he won the
one. Yeah, when he won the game, he had the exact same reaction. He's burying his face in his hands and just sort of like trying to compose himself.
It's actually very hard, to tell yourself, it's going to be okay. Just stick to the plan, or maybe even change his plan and keep on trying to do well against his opponents. Because Bunny, like I said, he's a beast. It's very hard not to respect him when you're a Protoss. It's very hard to actually take him, play against him and crush him.
He's got so much, like a lot of people have something that's just like natural talent, where they just actually have the reaction speed and the hand speed and the coordination to be able to just be good at games. Like they just have that natural ability, and Bunny definitely strikes me as that kind of guy.
Yeah. He might be not the tier of top foreigner he used to be, but he's still definitely very, very scary.
It feels like that's more of a lack of practice thing or a lack of games versus what he used to be able to play.
Yeah. If Bunny has a bad TVP, I don't even know what is real in this world anymore. He's a beast.
Absolutely, and the match will continue in the North spawn here of Invader. It is My Insanity's PtitDrogo.
Fan favorite here in France.
Absolutely, the crowd goes absolutely ape. And in the bottom here, this bottom spawn, he's on match point. This is Team Liquid's Bunny.
Drogo not actually being given that much credit, I feel, at times, for like a player who's capable on a good day to beat anybody and to win like some of these tournaments, like he did in Leipzig. Earlier on the French desk, I was there as an analyst. They asked me, like, who do you think is going to win the tournament? I said Drogo, and they laughed at me. Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Are you French for real? And then I asked them, who do you think is going to win? And one of them was like Hydra and stuff. I was like, yeah, okay, you picked the obvious ones, right?
I just said how O-Gaming's passion completely eclipsed our own. I actually take that back now. They don't think that their man Drogo is going to win this.
Well, I mean, it's hard right now to think he's going to win.
Yeah, this. I mean, just messing around. In all seriousness, it's hard to look past Hydra with his insane run at Austin. He's got that momentum. Like literally a week ago, he just won a huge tournament.
And I mean, even in that first series here, Drogo not in a little bit of trouble. Let's just say that here, being down 1 and 2 against the Danish Terran.
Yeah, and a very standard opening here from the Danish Terran. Nothing too cheeky. It's going for the Reaper expand. Second gas.
Yeah, so similar to what we saw last game. I mean, you don't change you always say that line,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the one, Todd.
Or you don't change a winning builds.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
It's been about a year and a bit since we've cast together, which is actually insane. It doesn't feel like that long ago, but it was Katowice 2015.
In eSports years, that's like 20 years, right?
It is, yeah. I definitely feel like I aged 20 years in the amount of eSports events that we've had to go to. It's pretty sick.
What are we going to see out of PtitDrogo, though?
I'm actually more interested in what Drogo's going to do this game. Oh,
he's mixing it up a little bit, though. But Bunny has been playing a lot with Reapers, and he's definitely going to want to look to try and...
he will see it.
Make sure he scouts that.
The Adept's actually hunting for this Reaper down in the natural. Oh, and he's out of vision.
Oh!
Yeah, he does actually see it, and that Reaper's going to want to go on the main to see that tech. Drogo's game plan here is to zone him out completely. It's very tough to zone out a Reaper, but he's doing a good job so far.
Yeah. And if that Reaper doesn't see the Stargate here, there's the potential for that to do some damage. But since Factory is finishing and there's the second gas on the way, it's most likely going to be a Cyclone here once again, which Cyclones, they're pretty good against Oracles. Actually, they're pretty good against an Oracle, because there's more Oracles, you can actually snipe them. But Drogo doesn't really strike me as the kind of player that will get multiple Oracles, like somebody like, like MC would do often, to try and snipe the Cyclone. So we'll see how many he gets.
It's a few free Protoss scenario, like, you know, Haas would be the kind of guy that would make like 6 oracles.
I mean,
and just
Haas, like, he will make as many oracles as it takes to to kill a Terran, even if it's 15. We can't even give a number with him.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm
who
so
knows,
hyped about Haas playing later against Happy.
Yeah, I actually didn't look at the cast around the lineup, but I really hope I get to cast that.
It's like polar opposites. I'm casting it with, I believe, Tasteless.
Okay, sorry. That's a
legend.
It's a shame for me, but you are about to be casting with Tasteless, the legend himself, which is actually pretty sick for you, man. Big career movement for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
By the way,
double Oracle.
Yeah, this triple Adept catching the Reaper again is a big deal. There's no info on the Oracle now, and there's going to be Adepts threatening the middle line in the natural, which might bring the Cyclone out of position. And the Oracle's flying into the main here, potentially. This is a big deal here.
Could be a nice little pull, a little whoopsie-daisy here from PtitDrogo. And he actually locks onto the Oracle. It's exactly what he wanted to lock onto. Will he get it?
Up.
Does he get the Oracle?
Observer?
He did get it.
Oh, wow.
He got the Oracle there.
Okay, so
and the Marines actually cleaned up the Adepts as well, so that's actually a very nice trade for Bunny.
This action was actually completely butchered by Drogo here. Because I feel like he either targets the Cyclone with the Oracle and takes it down, but the thing is though, I think he was hoping the Cyclone would lock onto the Adepts, in which case then you take out the Cyclone very easily, not being even targeted by the Oracle. So a big mistake like this. Usually this kind of attack here by Drogo can make or break the game, and here it really broke it for him. Like he's behind now, I think.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way. I mean, the Liberator's already in the sky, and he doesn't have units at the moment, so he has to rely on the overcharge, which usually works pretty well. Liberator heading across, and he's actually getting a quicker forge than the last game for him. A nice quick +1, and he chrono boosted the Twilight Council. Nothing going down on it just yet, though.
Yeah, that's weird. Did he forget?
Yeah,
okay, no,
there it is.
All right, +1 and Blink with that quick third base. Usually, when you open with a Stargate, you almost always go for that very quick third base because, you know, Stargate gives you a lot of control on the map. Gonna get locked on as well, but this time should be able to get it out.
It does get out of there. That recycling range is insane, but yeah.
So that Stargate gives you a lot of vision and control on the map. Then you go for the third base, and all you have to worry about is the next big push that's going to come from Terran, which in this case, I don't even believe there is a third command center. I think it might be a massive commitment.
He's made 3 more barracks, so it definitely seems like he's not going to get that third CC.
It's going to be that double siege Maynard, tanks, Liberators, and a lot of Marines, in which case if you don't have some, even if you have massive AoE, you really stay in the safety of the tanks and the Liberators with your Marines, and you push forward. And the fact that, you know, Photon Overcharge was changed in Legacy of the Void, pylons are not going to reach far enough to snipe these tanks. So now Drogo is going to have to outproduce his opponent, maybe even base trade, I don't know. But right now, I think Drogo doesn't realize what's happening, and he's making too many probes. If he knew that there's going to be a 2-base, he would cut now already. Yeah,
he's made 63 probes. This huge commitment to his economy. He's starting to make more production now, actually 3 gateways. But Bunny has extra 6 gateways, and that's going to be great for him when they finish. Bunny has already begun production, though. Look, 7 Marines at a time, 2 medevacs. Liberator's going to be on the way as well. Siege tanks already out. 4 siege tanks.
I think he's starting to realize what's happening, and he's going to need basically only Adepts maybe from now with the attack upgrade, and then he's going to have a chance to hold. But he's going to take a lot of units, like maybe even Immortals out of the Robo to help against the tanks if he can reach them.
And when these last 2 medevacs finish, he's going to go across the map with Stim, with +1, and try and get the, well, he doesn't have +1, but he's going to have Combat Shield.
Look at that base. There isn't even any room anywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of how the map works, how Invader works when you've got into the mid-game as Terran, you get all that production up, that laundry list of production. So the medevacs are done. It's about time for a Bunny to start his march across the map. It's giving Drogo time to start his Adept production. You're absolutely right, Todd. He's just making lots and lots of Adepts. Getting an Immortal as well, which is quite nice because he does have to deal with these siege tanks somehow.
Army supply. Right now, Drogo's trying to catch up with, I think he has 9 gateways. So 62 against 84. Obviously, he's going to have the pylons and the overcharges to buy himself some time, but what does he really have against this many Marines and tanks? Like, gateway units just don't do it. He needs more Immortals.
It's splash damage and an insane amount of DPS here from the Terran. There go the siege tanks. They do drop down. They can get that high ground with the scan.
By the way, I don't think he's going to want to engage. Oh, no, he is, because the Terran goes really far.
Oh, wow. And the Adepts kind of just awkwardly shade here on the back. The siege tanks on the low ground are doing a lot of splash damage to the Adepts, and the Marines shredding them apart as well. The time warps goes down, but it just seems like just too much from Bunny.
Wow, that was a sick action here, because I think Drogo sent the shades in to try and and threaten the Terran and make him pull back and go slower with his push. But I think Bunny realized what was happening is that,
oh my,
I'll go forward, let this transfer finish, I'm gonna wreck you and kill you and win this series 3-1.
This is just too much. I think this is it. 14 probes have gone down. GG. Bunny wins 3-1 against the home Protoss, PtitDrogo.
Liquid lives on here.
Liquid lives on. Round of 16. Hype. Well played by Bunny. An insane TVP masterclass being shown by the Danish Terran here.
That was crazy, I think, this move at the end. So many Terrans who probably have just kind of regrouped and waited for the Protoss to maybe transfer those adepts onto their tanks and kind of sat back and maybe allowed the Protoss to get one more warp in, but not Bunny. He was like, all right, you want to threaten to transfer? I dare you to do it. I call your bluff, gonna send my Marines forward, take out the only pylon that's in charge for overcharge, and Logo, PtitDrogo here, looking absolutely devastated. You're losing in the first round. Again, he's fourth in the WCS rankings. Imagine if he was able to score more points, he would be so much closer to getting to the global finals.
That's already 300 points and a few thousand extra dollars for Bunny here as he gets in the round 16. Being really, really good. He's done with his games for today as well. Doesn't have to play till tomorrow. Has that day to think about his game and prepare for his next match as well. So that's, I mean, it's everything you want as a player.
Absolutely, yeah. And Drogo...
feel really bad for Drogo with that reaction, but I mean, the nature of StarCraft is there can be only one. So. Highlander, man.
Bunny's Terran versus Protoss is no joke. Like, he might, he might say all he wants about, maybe it's not his best matchup and all. Like, I don't care. Like, that was so impressive.
Yeah,
and that move here as well.
And this shade, yeah, it was very questionable here from PtitDrogo to actually finish that shade right in front of the meat grinder of all those Stim Marines.
It was supposed to be ideal, though. Like, to come in from an angle like this and transfer. Maybe you should have let the transfer happen closer to the tanks, then we should have then forced the pickup. But that just wasn't enough. We talked about how he was trying to catch up in supply. The gateways maybe hit a little bit too late, and he made too many probes. 66 is not what you need. He could have stopped before,
Yeah, maybe 20 less probes, early production, possibly.
I don't know if I would go as far as 20 less, but yeah, definitely a little bit less. Yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe 20 less even would work, I think, because this attack is being forced by the third base anyway.
Like you said, I messed out, man. I didn't get this great around of Protoss, so should do that one day. Actually, Legacy of the Void is the most fun version of StarCraft that there has been. It's like objectively true.
Yeah.
So like every race looks so fun to play. I actually play random when I stream usually.
Not Zerg. No, I'm just kidding.
But I think that's it for our series now for the A stream, and we're going to take a short break here. But do not go away. Oh wait, interview on stage. Let's go over to Smix, and then we'll take a break. See you there.
Thank you very much, Maynard. Congratulations, Bunny. After an intense series, you take out the country favorite in Drogo and you move on to the top 16. I could clearly tell it was a very emotional, happy moment for you, but describe it in your own words.
Well, it's been a long time since I had a good result at LAN. It's like middle of 2015 or something. So it feels really good to play on stage again. And I was very nervous because it's been so long since I played in front of a crowd. So.
But you speak of nerves, but in the games themselves, obviously you had solid play going throughout. So can you talk about the games themselves? Specifically, let's talk about game one. Oh, I thought the mic cut out there. But in game one, Drogo came at you with a really strong attack, but somehow you were able to hold, and then you went across the map, and it just seemed that he just didn't have enough for you. So what do you think went wrong in that game on his side?
I think he was playing a little bit too aggressive in the mid game. He did some really bad attacks that he really didn't need to. I'm not sure if it was because he was nervous or jet-lagged, or because normally when we practice, he doesn't do those sorts of attacks. So I was always very happy when he decided to attack in the mid-game.
And speaking of aggression, even in some of the other games in that series, there were times where it felt like he didn't need to be as aggressive as he was, but he chose to be. So did you again feel in that moment that maybe it was nerves coming into play for him?
Yeah, probably. He made some really strange moves, but he made a lot of good moves as well in the early game. I feel like that's where he's really good as a player. He has really good early game, and with build orders, he has like really, really sick timings. And I think he got ahead in a lot of the games by doing harassment and stuff, but then there was one moment where he overcommitted a bit.
Well, I know that you said that it's been a long time since you've had a result on LAN, but how have you been in general? Because clearly it's been a long time since we've spoken to you at these types of tournaments. So what has it been like in the life of Bunny recently?
Well, I started studying, so life has been a lot different from when I was a pro gamer, and I just play a little bit in my time off. Yeah, life is different when you have a reason to go outside and socialize every day, But yeah, I enjoy like going to school and stuff. Of course, pro gaming has its fun part as well, but it's nice for a change.
Well, even despite the balancing act, it seems that it doesn't deter your ability to do well in StarCraft 2, as you are moving on to the top 16, where you will be playing Massa. And actually, earlier when we spoke to him, he did express that he wanted to play you as he loves TvT. And I know that you have solid TvT as well, so how do you anticipate that's going to come out?
I don't really know. It's been a long time since I played TvT. I think on Europe there isn't a lot of good Terrans, so I'm not really sure where my level in the matchup is at. And I think Masa is a very good player. He's been having some good results recently. I would really like to play a Zerg sometime, but I keep getting Protoss and Terran in tournaments. But hopefully I can defeat Masa and play some Zergs later.
All right, well, congratulations again, Bunny, and he will be moving on towards the top 16. As Maynard mentioned earlier, we will be headed to a short commercial break, but when we come back, we will have Showtime versus Sort of coming up, so stay tuned.